Hi, Gary. Scott, what a great shot. Well, Gary's sci-fi movie cinema, absolutely sensational. One thing I've got to ask you, well, first of all, yourself, Gary, then obviously from a technical aspect, Scott.
Yeah.
This room, it was a pool room when you first started. I noticed when I came in, the angle of the doors. Did that detract from this becoming a movie room for you, or were you able to overcome that?
When we originally moved into the house, they were solid doors, and we got rid of those. This was one of the issues that we have with this room. We've got windows. We've got a window outside on this side to the outside world. We've got an inside window on this side plus the doors. We didn't really want the room shut off, so we ended up putting glass doors on. Now, while it may not be totally practical for a home theatre, it is what we wanted. We still want the room to be open to the rest of the house, so it still works in a way that we allow us to. I do remember when Scott did talk to us about this. Did we want to block off the windows and it was something we talked about at home, and no, we wanted it to be open as well. So
that's the thing. There's a lot of features and components and acoustics and things we wanted to incorporate, and that's the thing. We had to look at, well, what are some of the priorities? What are some of the non-negotiables or the rocks or the things we had to work around? And because you do get good light through this side of the house, then this room can open up and still be light and bright and still actually get light through into the living area, which is otherwise, away from an outside wall. So it's really cool how, as when you shut down the blinds, you shut down the lights, you're in the movie zone.
Yep.
But it can definitely transform and open up. And same with the demo room in Como there. We have a screen that opens up for a window, and it started off a bit open plan. And yeah, you can make these spaces really work, given these sort of priorities, and also the fact that it still is a room in the house. But it's a fantastic dedicated cinema at the same time. So yeah.
Gary, you were saying when before Scott came along, you had a lot of speakers. You could see them, the tower speakers. I'm sure a lot of us are familiar with them. I remember getting them for Jumanji. But I now look around and I can see, only because I'm experienced with Scott, where the speakers are. But you've used them in a way to actually display your memorabilia.
we have, yeah. That was one of the things we were trying to incorporate, was the where the speakers have to go from an acoustic point of view. Where do they get the best sound, and then from that, could we actually build something that would allow me to display the structure, the features that I've got in them. And so it was sort of almost this. The speaker placement was probably the most important
priority.
Yeah. And then what we could build around it to try and help me display everything that I've got.
I got to ask you too. Were you like two kids? Did you put all this stuff out on the floor and play with it and go make shapes? How did you work it out?
There's actually there were a number of key items which we did measure, and I kind of added that into the drawing program to sort of make sure we had the right sort of sizes, because some of the pieces here are 800-900 mil in size, 3 feet by a foot. So there was some pretty big items. There's a number of smaller items. So yeah, we had to do a bit of planning to make sure the decor was going to be well sorted. But we left it up to Gary for a few weeks to get to this stage. Once the room was done, to have a play with the parts, and you got the fun part of negotiating where the Enterprise goes and where the Terminator goes.
Well, I mean, like the Terminator arm, that was a dedicated space for that.
That was purely, so. Yeah, that was a real feature one, which restraint was another big component of the design. We couldn't just fill the place up with shelves, so we needed to really create quite a bold statement, and the Terminator arm, I think, was probably one of the strongest ones showcased, and it was the black paneling around, though the black paneling doesn't look like it's doing a lot. There's actually a speaker in there, there's acoustics in there, there's cabling in there, there's all sorts of stuff happening. So yeah, I think that's my favourite one, I must say.
Now, sitting behind you, I will show a shot of this. It's the wonderful egg, I'll call it. What's the history behind that, and how did you come across that, Gary?
The alien egg.
Alien egg, yeah.
It's bizarre. Some of the websites that I subscribe to, they were putting this, while they're going to sell this alien egg, and I looked at it and I looked at the dimensions and I thought, oh, is it a bit too big for the home theatre? And when I saw it, and I saw a couple of reviews of it when it was originally made, and because it's life size, it's not exactly small. I mean, it stands about this high, and I must say, Alien was another pivotal movie for me, and
Ridley Scott.
Ridley Scott, and the idea of the alien egg, and I was like, oh, I've got to have one. So I ended up purchasing it, and I have to laugh because it came in this massive cardboard box, and just written on the side it said "Alien Egg."
Alien egg. Say no more.
God knows what the postie thought.
That's exactly what you got. Yeah.
But I must say, when we were designing the room, we were looking at where we would put it, and we tried a couple of ideas with positions, and then I think it was one of the final designs, it just came to us that where it is located is a perfect spot for it. So.
And it's sort of sneaking. You walk in and you're kind of looking around and
it's right there.
Do those things pose challenges, Scott? Do they tax you a little bit of going, what am I going to do with this so it's got its place, that it fits?
Yeah, look, that's the largest piece in here. So that was a little bit trickier, and it wasn't till, because there's a number of things that are set. We're like, okay, these are sort of foundations, and here are the ideas around it. And then we kind of worked around, and then we've got a few more things set, like the wings at the front of the room, how we're going to position the front stage speakers and how tall they'll go. So we end up finding that. And then, so there's a few bits we allow to simmer in the design process, There's a few areas that are kind of open. And then, as we continue to catch up and went through it, they just started kind of clicking into place. And that one, that looks great there.
I mean, it doesn't need its own stage like the Terminator arm does, but I think where it sits is actually effective in the room. It's and it was just something that seemed to come to us when we started looking at where we're going to put things.
And it's sort of simple in the end in the corner. So it's less is more, which is a challenge when there's so much stuff going on.
It's interesting to say finding where things can sit. And a lot of home theatres, the wall where that's what you guys are staring at is normally a complete shelving unit and covered in with black cloth and speakers. But you strategically left some spots open, and one that caught my eye was the Star Trek.
Enterprise.
When you've got large models like Star Trek Enterprise, is that then becoming a challenge, Scott, of where do I place this where it can be enjoyed, but it doesn't take away from the experience of the movie?
Good point. That's the thing. We haven't kind of had an open style and a wraparound style sort of stage cabinet before. This was, we created this to suit exactly that. So we had some good sized pieces we wanted hiding, and actually we got the subwoofer acoustically positioned in the room. So that's kind of hidden in. And the DVD library kind of mirroring that to sort of hide those two parts, and a nice symmetrical room works great. And so it gave us a good amount of sort of square meterage for these larger parts. So, but we kept it under the frame, under the bench top, and we've highlighted them with the lighting. But of course, when the movie starts, you turn the lights off. And the projection screen light doesn't actually hit them and protrude. So we've got the feature in there at the same time where they kind of hide at the same.
I think that's a good thing about it, because yes, you can have the lights on and show them off and have them there. But when it comes to watching the movie, when the lights are off, it's all black. You just don't see them anyway. Because
covert.
It is good. It's actually well done.
Now, I've got to ask, this is probably a personal question. I'm looking over at the Thunderbirds model. Where did you get that? It's incredible.
A number of these models were produced by a company in the UK, and they do limited editions, and they actually did a whole set of Thunderbirds, and one of the ones I regret not getting is the pink Rolls Royce, the Lady Penelope car. But other than that, I managed to get hold of all the others, and I must say that they're limited editions. You can't unfortunately get them now unless they reproduce them. But
so these are licensed.
These are licensed.
Model company,
they're licensed models, and I must say that look, they're not cheap, but I mean, they became, again, something that I wanted to have in the room to in a way give the room a little bit of personality, because and I mean, Scott might differ from me with this, but I sort of understand that sort of with home theatres, it's best to have nothing in front of you. So, but I want the room to have some sort of my personality in it, and I think that's sort of over the time I just started collecting these, and it was quite funny because you were sort of looking at collecting them, but then it was like, well, hang on, if I collect that, I've got to then not buy this piece of equipment, because it was
trade-off.
Because one of the things was that it is a trade-off, and I mean, look, I'm one of these people that I have to manage the money quite carefully, and I think anything can be done as long as you can manage your finances, and I think that's the important thing. You can really get away with doing a lot.
So layering it up, building it, so you're getting value every step of the way.
Yeah.
Scott, listening to Gary then, and I know you do a lot of personalised theatres for people, and one of your strengths is to bring their personality into the room. But that is going to be a challenge when you start coming against all different personalities. I'm just looking at Gary's room here, large models, small models. How do you as designer start this process in your mind so you get somebody and be able to give someone the confidence to let their personality be reflected in their own room?
Yeah, look, I guess it helps as we've got some inspirations, and Gary's room I think is going to be a huge inspiration for others as well to see what can be done. The dedicated room allows people a bit more freedom and to sort of go a bit crazy, go a bit playful in that space, because the kitchen is what it is, and definitely let your spouse choose the tiles in the kitchen. You're going to get more freeway and options in the cinema. That's another good tip, actually, right? But look, everyone's got their own sort of style. I think seeing what's already in the house and collected helps us get a good feel for that. But certainly the design process, we're not too eager to just come back and say this is what needs to be done. We really let the whole journey sort of as I say, simmer a little bit. But we come back with the rocks, we go, what things are going to stay? Audio engineering's really strict as I can make it. The geometry for projection. So the audio visual engineering's as strict as we can get it, but then we've kind of got this flexibility in other areas. So, we're just excited to be on this journey with people as well and really showcase some cool work. So we want to be part of that. So we're pretty easy with the amount of time that we sort of help to put into it, and it's all about that result, and that's why these cinemas are just really quite unique and special. So
unique and special. I'm going to ask you the curliest question ever. This room's amazing, but Gary first, what's your favourite part of the room?
Look, I must say that that's a hard question to answer. Right? I must say that one of the things I do like doing in this room, other than watching movies, I like sitting and reading and just having a bit of music on. That is, I suppose, why we don't have the windows covered in or anything like that, because it is just the feeling you get when you're in this room, and it's almost a bit of luxury, comfortable, and a great space to be in. So I actually love the whole room. Wow, cool. But I must say, couple of things that really come to mind. The lighting in the room, while we haven't gone for full automation, the lighting of the room really was a last minute addition, wasn't it, Scott?
Yeah.
I mean, it was something
we had it in mind for the
what
future,
to do. Yeah,
brought it forward.
But one of the things was that I wanted the room to be finished off to a point where I was comfortable and happy with, and so we got the lighting in. I must say the lighting just adds that little bit of it just is awesome. So it's hard. I can't put my finger on one aspect of the room.
And of course, we're not going to let Scott off. Scott, you do a lot of rooms. This one is absolutely another amazing result. Do you have a favourite part of this room that you went, I got it?
I think I'm going to make it easier myself and go for the Terminator arm feature. The fact that it's so bold, it's a simple look. I'm super biased. Terminator 2 is probably my favourite movie of all time. So But also, you know, we've integrated a lot of solutions around that feature. So it's quite a behind the scenes, very tricksy. And I think it's just so bold. I love it. Yeah.
Guys, thank you so much for your time. Scott, obviously someone watching, what's the best way to contact you to get one of those discovery meetings and look at your demo theatre?
Yeah, we got the demo room now in Como, WA. Lots of media on YouTube, Facebook and Instagram. So just look up Rogue Home Cinema. You'll find us in those spaces. And from there, it's going to link us through to our latest sort of web pages and sort of services and booking forms as well. It's all really dynamic and that's all growing right now. So search for us in those platforms. You'll find us really easy. Yeah.
Scott, Gary, thanks so much for your time.
You're welcome.
Thank you.